Hello, Creative Mind Coaching Group. This is Debra and Dr. Rob, and this is the Q of the week. And so we have a great question about heartbreak this week. How are you today, Rob?
Very well, thank you. Nice to be here. Hello, everybody, and I hope you all are feeling safe and optimistic.
Yes.
And we got some great questions today.
Yes, and we'll get, if you have a question of your own about heartbreak or anything, you can answer them here too. But let's start with the question of the week. It's coming from Nancy in Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach is for lovers. Did you know that? Or Virginia is for lovers? I don't know if it's the beach.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. We've been there a couple of times.
My mom lives right by there. So Nancy says, I wanted to write you because you always have a different angle than most dating advice I hear out there. I ended my 10-year marriage 6 months ago. 10 years. My ex-husband left me for another woman he had been having an affair with, and my kids are now spending time with him and his new girlfriend. I don't know what happened to drive him away. He won't talk to me. I feel isolated and alone. I still love him, and I can't imagine my life without him. I don't want to date someone new. I just want him back. I wonder why I created this heartache, and how can I get over my broken heart and move on? Wow. Great question, and a tough situation. I've had many clients go through something very similar where the person left and they were just kind of wondering what happened. They feel like they don't have the answers. They feel they were blindsided. Yeah. But also they're just having this like yearning for him back and not wanting to move forward, but can't go back. And you're in that yucky stuck place. And we've all, if we broke up with someone that we like or had a breakup, we can really understand how that feels. And so let's talk first about what is a heartbreak. What is heartache to begin with? How would you describe it? What's really happening in the psyche when we're heartbroken?
Yeah, I think it's a spectrum. You can certainly talk to people that have gone through similar experiences and have come out, stronger for it, while others are crushed by those kind of experiences.
And some people they'll date for like 2 dates and they'll be completely destroyed, and then other people, they could be together for years and just move on to the next person. There
was some interesting research not too long ago on, they call it broken heart syndrome. People that have gone through these similar experiences, like our friend here, and they found that it actually impacts your physical health. Like the health of the heart is actually impacted through those things. So,
which is the heartache.
In a sense, the heartbreak is really talking about a physical condition as well as a psychological, emotional one.
And I also, there was some research a psychologist did on breakups, and she said that the emotional pain that people feel that's registered in the brain is registered in the physical body as physical pain. So it's really a physical experience when you go through a breakup. It's not just, so if you are going through it and your friends are like, get over it, and your family's telling you get over it, it really is a physiological, psychological experience. But I think the good news is, if we were going to have a good news in a heartbreak, is that it really opens the door to something in our life. It's showing us something's not working, because if there's pain, that means that your conditioning, your patterns was really set up on the wrong track. That you're attracting someone who would leave you, would cheat on you, that wouldn't love and adore you. So what is that unconsciously? And having a heartbreak, having that pain, it kind of stops us and makes us really look within and say, what can I do? Now, of course, there's some people out there that say, here's the 3 steps to get your ex back, which if you did get your ex back, it would just be reinforcing the old pattern. So it's really an opportunity to break old patterns and start fresh.
Yeah, we know it's hard to see it as an opportunity when you're in it, because when you're in it, it's like we know the attention of the mind narrows down to that problem, and it seems to fill the whole world. You know, when you're in that state of feeling the pain and struggling, and so you have to keep in mind that your outlook is going to be kind of very narrowed and very restricted when you're feeling those emotions. But with practice, you can start seeing it as an opportunity for growth, because ultimately it is a calling to transform, to do something bigger than what you've been doing in the past.
And here's the key to understanding that, is that you don't have to know how it's all going to turn out or why this has happened to you, and feel that, I got to figure this all out and rush ahead. It just kind of knowing that you might not have all the answers right now, but trusting in, whatever your faith is, something that's spiritual in you, that there is a bigger plan for you, and having that faith and just accept that this heartache, this emotion, this tension, this physiological reaction that's happening within me is going to bring something new into my life. And I can attest to this. I mean, every time I've had a terrible breakup or heartache, it's led me to something new. Led me to a new career sometimes, led me to moving to Colorado was because of a breakup. And
you were running away?
I was running away, and then I wanted him back, and then no, I don't want him back. And so that kind of, it really makes you stop looking externally for that approval, that love in that person. And it makes it, when they break away and they don't talk to you, it almost forces you to go inward. So Nancy, that's one thing we would recommend, is that first of all, accept it as an opportunity, and then allow yourself to invite this heartache in a way for you to look inside yourself.
And the primary reason that it is an opportunity, now this is not the same as positive thinking. It sounds similar, right? Because a lot of positive thinking is based on this idea that if you have a negative thought or a feeling, a negative emotion, you want to reframe it and turn it into a positive. But here we're saying it's an opportunity, because that's exactly what it is. When we are in those states of mind of like chaos and transition and uncertainty, the unconscious mind is open. It's the time to really see what is really going on in mind.
I want to just underscore that. When you're in intense emotional pain, your unconscious mind is open. Now, that's positive, but it also can be hook you back in. So you have to be hyper present in those moments and vigilant with your focus. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why it's an opportunity. So opportunities don't guarantee anything, obviously. We know people pass by opportunities all the time, or they neglect them or ignore them. And so an opportunity simply means that the potential's there if you are willing and able to take advantage of it.
And so I think it's okay that you don't want to go out and just fill the void with someone else. I think that's actually better. Spend some time alone, and it's basically a time to look back and say, okay, I have to rewrite my life here. I have to figure out what I really want. And, before I met you, it was like 6 years before I met you, I was engaged, and we broke up, and I thought my whole life was planned for me, and everything kind of fell apart. I got laid off from my job like that same week. And that's my homeless, manless, and jobless phase. But it was like I was on the wrong track. I was in the wrong career. I was with the wrong person. And I was always told, my friends, they're like, why aren't you that upset? And I said, because I feel like God said, Deb, we're on the wrong track here. I just want to take all this away and we're going to start over. And that's kind of the benefit of a breakup and heartache. It's like, it's a chance for you to start over, start fresh, detox your heart, and really create something really meaningful. And maybe if you look back when you move through this on the other side, the last 10 years of this marriage might not have been as great. and you're going to meet someone else eventually that you're going to say, oh, I can't believe I settled for this other guy and pined over him, because now I have someone amazing. And of course, that's what happened to me, but it happens to many of my clients. They said, oh, I can't believe I was so like hanging on to this person and thought he was the best thing in the world. And now I have Joe, and Joe is like 1,000 times better. And so really know that.
Who's Joe? No.
Joe, not for me, but it's like that you have to trust that the divine in you wants you to have the best. And if you're heartbroken, that is a sign that that wasn't the best.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was truly the best, he would be with you and you would be with him, and he wouldn't have cheated and all those things. So you deserve the best. And another thing too, do you want to talk about like why someone would have this experience? Because she said, I wonder why I created this heartache in the first place.
Yeah, you know, the poet Rumi said the wailing of broken hearts is the doorway to God. And if we really understand what the nature of suffering is, this is and this is really real suffering, right? That we all can relate to. It's an opportunity to go deeper into who you really are and what are your values. How are you seeing love? How are you approaching your life and using this time that you're given in this human body to how are you moving towards your spiritual center, in other words? And these are great opportunities, again, because everything is up in the air. Everything's in chaos. Everything is new in a way. It's giving you a chance to start over, like you said. And you have to ask those tough questions. You know, what do I really want to do with my love? The love that comes from me, that I know I want to experience and I
share,
and I want to share with others. Yeah, and so it is that kind of calling into a spiritual life, not the religious life. You know, obviously some religions are very good at providing spiritual experiences, but spirituality meaning finding your own center, your own higher purpose.
And so the other question was, why did I create this? And so we talk about the pre-attraction mindset. And a lot of people think that, and you're probably thinking, Nancy, that maybe if you were different, he wouldn't have left, or, you know, something about, you know, over the 10 years, maybe you could have been more attentive or something, or interested, or less needy, or whatever we think about ourselves. We kind of look back at the relationship and say, how could I have changed my behavior, or how I looked even to you know, keep him? And that's the wrong question. The question is, what is going on underneath unconsciously that drove me to this type of pattern in the first place? And I could tell you that, you know, most of the time, the people that find, you know, that broken relationship, there's typically a broken relationship in their parents' life. You know, what we learn about love is through our parents. So I would look to, what did you learn about love from your mom? You know, what a woman's role in a relationship from your mom. That's really a great place to start.
Yeah, and she's in a particular situation because she has to continue to see and relate to the ex.
Because of the kids.
Yeah, because of the kids. And so a lot of people find themselves in these kind of situations where it's constant, you know, that drip, drip, drip of being triggered all the time, and kind of fighting through the children or through the in-laws and those kind of things.
Yeah, getting triggered all the time. I had clients that would say, oh, I saw her car in the parking, you know, parked in the driveway when I dropped off my kids, and it just triggers me. And, you know, kind of knowing that other woman is there, and jealousy and envy, you know, it's such a tough, like, it's almost like we don't like to feel that way. It's such an uncomfortable feeling. But it's an opportunity for us to see, like, what is happening. Why am I not number one? Why did I, because there's some part of you that doesn't feel number one. Right.
So instead of thinking, you know, this is a curse, right? Because that's the tendency of our conscious mind, is to think in terms of this is a blessing or this is a curse. we think of it as a challenge. So this is a difficult challenge, yes, but can I work with these triggers, on a weekly or monthly basis, whatever the contact is? And the answer is always yes. You can work with these emotions, these triggers, and learning to work with these triggers will be the most beneficial for everyone. You, your children, your ex, everyone, because if you repress it, if you push it away, it simply goes into your unconscious mind, into what Jung called the shadow. But if you are able to work with it and transform it into positive energy, creative energy, then it serves your purpose, that spiritual growth purpose.
And really, for everyone who's asking the question of how did I create something that we're triggered by, here's a great, easy tip on how to figure that out. Look at your response to the result. How do you respond to the result that you don't want? And listen to, first of all, feel the feeling. Notice the feeling that arises. Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it, that kind of fright, anxiety, or whatever it is? And then sit and listen to the story. What is your mind telling you about this situation? It's like kind of projecting onto the situation. And the story that you're telling to the response is the underlying unconscious belief system that is driving the actual experience. So you're responding with, I want him back. I feel alone. I can't live without him. So there's some kind of belief that he's the prize, that you're not the prize, that you're, you are alone. And so before you even were married, you were giving him the prize. And you may look back at the past 10 years and think, oh, I've been putting him on the pedestal the whole time, and I haven't even honored myself. So boom, that's the clue. Oh, I created it because I thought I was less than. And then, of course, the situation played out as if he picked another woman, because that's what your belief system is. Now, if you could have responded to his loss. What a jerk. I want someone who's committed, and you're strong. You don't have that heartache. You're maybe a little hurt, but you're just like, no. And that response would mean something different about your belief system. Maybe it's like you don't trust her, but something else is going on. So look at that result. I have to share a story before we let you talk again. I remember one time, one of the very first times I've heard my divine self speak to me was back in, I don't know, early 30s. I was mid-30s. I was dating this guy long distance, and we went away, all of us, girls and guys, went to the ski trip. And he was supposed to meet me at the bar. And the whole time he was kind of acting distant, and I was thinking, he's with his friends. And I'm sitting at the bar going, does he really like me, or do I, am I just in the way here? And why isn't he showing up yet? And all my mind, I'm justifying, well, he's with his friends and I'm with my friends. And, my story started spinning and trying to justify this poor behavior. And then I look down, and there's like a mirror, and I look in the mirror, and I see in the reflection him with another woman having drinks and having fun. Meanwhile, he knew, I texted him where I was, or told him to text me to meet me. He didn't know we were at the same place. And I just, in my mind, I was so hurt at first. And then clear as day, this voice said, "You deserve more." It was the most powerful voice I ever heard in my life. I was like, I never talked to myself that way. I was like insecure back then. And it just, that was such a powerful experience. I went home, and then a month later I was laid off from my job, and another time. But that's when I started to look for, what do I want to do with my life, and change. So there was such a big opportunity for me. So when these things aren't working out, when we meet people that are just mistreating us, or leave us or hurt us, it's a calling for our heart saying, you deserve more. And that's really what's awakening you. That's what a heartache can really do. It's waking you up to what you truly, truly deserve. And I'm telling you, I remember that clear, and it was like this overwhelming sense of peace and love that showed up in my life. It was really powerful. And that voice is not there anymore. I don't hear voices, but it was really just this, like, I don't know if it's divine intervention.
What were you drinking?
I was drinking lots of martinis at the time. Maybe that was it, but it was just really powerful experience.
Okay.
And of course, I never saw him again after that day. I was like, "How you doing, dude? See you later." So, but it's really those things happen. So it happens to all of us, no matter how even positive and work we do on ourselves, we do end up running into these things, and it's showing us where we're off base.
I just wanted to go back to something mentioned earlier, that intergenerational pattern.
Oh yeah.
We often see this in families in these situations. What you want to do is you want to see these opportunities as well as an opportunity to break those long chains.
Mm-hmm.
It might be 4 or 5 generations going on, kind of passing it on. And now all of a sudden, here's a person that is conscious enough and is willing to do the work to break that pattern, to break that cycle, so you don't pass it on to your kids. And it's a very important moment, when people realize that and they see that, okay, this I'm not only doing this for myself, I'm doing it for future generations. It's an incredible thing. And there are often very few rules or universals that apply in family systems, but here's one that always applies. Keep your kids out of the fight. Don't use them to get back at the ex. I know it's tempting, because they're kind of
or telling the kids about stuff about them.
Yes.
A lot of parents are like, he's a jerk. There
That's
goes
right.
Joe again.
Yeah, if you can do that, you'll be doing them one of the best favors that anybody can do to another human being, is that you're taking care of their heart, their mind, in a very conscious way.
Great. Well, I have a couple more questions. If people have questions, feel free to post them before we go. Someone previewed before. She said she couldn't make it live, so she asked if I could ask this question. How do you stop your defenses kicking in after getting over a heartbreak? So you have a heartbreak and then you're going out and dating. So how do you stop yourself from being protective and defended against love? You have to work with that heartache first before you go back out there. Like, you have to come to terms with what this heartache is. That's what I would say.
Yeah, you definitely want to take some time to do some of that self-reflection that we were talking about, and ask those tough questions. Some people jump right into it, right? Because often the advice is, well, the only way to get over a broken heart is to fall in love again, right? And focus on a new relationship. Sometimes that might work, but it's not a good idea. It's best to take some time and really examine, like we were saying, why did I create these situations? What is it teaching me? What can I learn about my own mind and my own approach to love?
Well, and this also reminds me, Rob, what you tell our clients all the time is that you have to be willing to get your heart broken if you're going to be open for love. So being familiar with heartbreak and not being afraid of it, saying, I could deal with whatever comes. And if I open my heart and this person doesn't love me back, I'm not going to die. So that's how really we start to come to
terms. It might feel that way.
It might feel, but it's okay. It stings a little bit. I'm going to go back out there. It's like the willingness to keep your heart open after the breakup and after the heartbreak is what's going to lead to how your next relationship plays out. And if you can come to terms with the energy around this heartbreak and the physically, our emotional wisdom techniques are awesome for that. And then you can really meet someone new, and you're breaking that pattern, because emotions are what locks in patterns. So if you just kind of push the heartache away and drown it out with alcohol or ice cream, Ben and Jerry's, that late night, sitting there with the tub and eating it and watching Netflix, that's going to just suppress the feeling and maybe feel a little comforting, but it's not going to, you're not going to be able to transcend it. And you're more likely to go out and repeat the pattern again, or repeat the same type of person or pattern in the relationship. So you want to really go use this as a great opportunity to start a new life, start a new
chapter.
New chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next question is, what is the unconscious telling us about the heartbreak?
You mean what
I don't know what she means by that. I think she's thinking the subconscious has a thoughts, but it really, like, I guess, what is the unconscious pattern? Like, what does it mean?
By creating the external heartbreak situation. Yeah, I think it's a wake up call, and it's a calling for you to move towards your higher purpose. Mm-hmm. It seems to be like built in. Because we've all heard of those midlife crises and those kind of things. These crises points they signal that there's a change needed, an important change, not externally but internally.
Yes,
that's the mistake people make, is they think that I need to change jobs, or I need to move to another city, and of course all those things are great, but it's the internal change that you need to make. You need to really examine your life. Like Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. That's what he means, that if you're not able to use those crises points in your life for growth, you're missing the best opportunities in your life.
You know what, also, too, I think that heartbreak shows that you're willing to stay open, that you're willing to put yourself out there. People that don't have heartbreak, that are very defended, they don't even get to that point. They're just kind of move on, or they're angry, but they never get to that like vulnerable place. And it's like you're cracked open with the heartbreak. You're kind of raw, and it really is such a powerful transformational experience. And so if you approach it that way, it won't feel that bad, because you're saying, the universe wants me to do something. That's how I felt when I was like, something great is going to come out of this. And so let me see and trust in my deeper higher self, because there's a true self. You're the witness, the person, the part of you that kind of is watching your ego go through all these gymnastics with love, wants you to have the most divine relationship. And so it's nudging you towards something. And if we could take a step back and listen, it'll tell us where to go. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. These are great questions, and we hope you join us next week. We have another question of the week. And if you want to submit a question, just post it here. Say, can I be the question of the week? Tell us your story, or you can send an email to connect@creativemindmethod.com. That's our customer service line, and just say, hey, I have a suggestion for a question of the week. And if we like your question, we will use it on one of our calls and focus on all of you. So, Nancy, we wish you well. We hope that you find that peace in whatever you're going through, and that you trust in the journey that your soul is taking you on, and that you deserve great love, and that because this relationship didn't work out doesn't mean it's the end of the road. It's just the beginning of a new one.
That's right. And remember, it's an opportunity.
Yes.
Although it might not feel like one.
Yes. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next week for the Q of the Week.
See you next time.
Take care. Bye.